One day, out of the blue, our Pip-Boy picks up a brand new signal. The signal gives us coordinates to a canyon entrance west of Prim. The signal has no other message except the words, Courier 6. It is signed, Ulysses. Ulysses? The last time we heard of Ulysses was at the Big Empty. While exploring the crater, we kept stumbling upon these strange graffiti marks all over the place. The stars and stripes of pre-war America. The Old World flag. After piecing together information we discovered on holotapes littering the Big Empty, we realized that another story was playing alongside the events of Old World Blues. It was the story of a man who called himself a courier, just like us.
Do you know where he went?
He's gone to the Sierra Madre. That's a special kind of hell. He won't come back. Someone smarter and tougher is going to kill him. If the Madre doesn't.
I have to go after him.
Not going to talk you out of it. Know what it means to track someone you share history with. Got a meeting of my own.
That courier?
Get her to come to me. Got a message for her. Like the message she had for me. Make them walk the road west, straight and true. Sink their feet in old world ash. Let storms tear at them. See the divide. See what happened.
The divide? There's nothing there.
Nothing there. Like the Big Empty. The Sierra Madre. No. The old world sleeps there. Sure as the flag I carry. The courier knows the way. And at the divide, her and I, there, we'll have an ending to things.
And from the way he spoke, it almost sounded like he knew who we were. Almost as if the trail he was leaving across the crater was left just for us. And then fast forward, a couple weeks, a few months? Here we are back in the Mojave Wasteland, and out of the blue we receive a signal signed by Ulysses? Who is this guy? How does he know us? Why is he contacting us? To find out, we head to Prim. If we follow the main road that leads through Prim south, we eventually find a side road heading off to the west. This side road takes us through the California Sunset Drive-In. Much like the Mojave Drive-In, we find it littered with abandoned Corvega cars. There's not much to loot here, but we do find a small stash of bottle caps near one ruined building. Passing through a broken fence near to a playground in the drive-in, we can continue along the road which takes us north. As we climb the hill, we see a coyote perched atop a hillside overlooking the road. We see a few more coyotes wandering around near to him, and it's just then that we get surprised by ghouls. My character here is not wearing anything because I like to leave all of my gear behind before starting a brand new DLC adventure. That way, I've got plenty of room to carry everything back with me. Plus, it forces me to use the new weapons and armor that come with the new DLC. Once the ghouls are dead, we can sneak by. Our Pip-Boy compass says that these coyotes are hostile. Here the road winds to the east, but the canyon coordinates that we got from Ulysses points us to the northwest. We walk right through an abandoned playground where we see a teddy bear at the very top of a slide. The gravel road takes us northwest up a hill. We find a tipped-over truck with a bunch of barrels in the back. Here we find a couple of crates and inside some explosives. There was a cage in the back here filled with human remains. Was this truck transporting prisoners? And on the side of the truck we see some interesting graffiti. Is that a lowercase a? A badly drawn 2? Peering off towards that hill we see the coyote still standing there overlooking the road. He's barely moving. Sneaking on up the hill, we see more coyotes over in what appears to be their coyote den. I'm going to try to ignore them because I don't want to have to kill the coyotes. But upon reaching the top of the hill, I realized that I had no choice. It was here that I regretted leaving all of my gear behind. But I was thankful that I at least brought my shovel. With the coyotes dead, we see 2 graves here. Exhuming them, we don't find any remains, but we do find some ammunition and caps. Heading on over to the coyote den, we can kill the coyotes, and then in their den we find a dead NCR trooper. So these coyotes are not as harmless as we once thought. Here we also find 2 ammunition canisters. The gravel road crests the hill and ends at a bunch of wreckage to the northwest. Here we find graffiti all over the wreckage. You can go home, courier. Courier 6? And then we realize what the symbol means. It means 6. It's a backwards 6. Courier 6? We are Courier 6. We recall after meeting House that he hired 7 couriers, 6 of whom were decoys. Only one of them was carrying the platinum chip. And of course we were that one.
You realize you were just one of many couriers. The rest of them dummies, so to speak?
But we were not meant to be. We learned from Johnson Nash at the Mojave Express in Prim that another man was at one time supposed to be Courier 6.
Yeah, I got this look when he saw you next down on the courier list. His expression turned right around, asked me if your name was for real. I said, sure as like a rain, you were still kicking. Then he turned down the job, just like that. I asked if he was sure it was good money. No, let Courier 6 carry the package, that's what he said. Like the Mojave'd sort you out or something. Then he just up and walked out. Sounds like you two had a history for him to act like that. And turn down the money, too. Hope he didn't see any trouble in that package of yours. Maybe he thought your name was bad luck. Not for me to say.
He turned down the job only after learning that we were next in line. From everything we've learned so far in our travels, Ulysses must be this very same courier, the man who would have been Courier 6. But why did he give up the job to us? Did he know what the package contained? Did he know what would happen to us for carrying it? And why is he now taunting us? Nearby we find more graffiti, The Divide, and Lonesome Road. Beneath the Lonesome Road graffiti, we find a duffel bag filled with caps, ammunition, chems, and a new food item, an MRE. MREs are new consumable food items with Lonesome Road. MRE stands for Meal Ready to Eat, and they're used by soldiers, members of the United States Armed Forces. These MREs heal 2 hit points per second over 15 seconds, and they don't expose us to any radiation. But their real value is when playing on hardcore mode. They only grant 1 hit point per second for 10 seconds, but they remove 200 starvation, making it an essential food item to collect for those playing on hardcore mode. But what should we do about this? I mean, it's clear that this Ulysses is trying to lure us somewhere, and it's probably not to play patty cake. And the graffiti he left outside is true. You can always go home, courier. We can. We don't have to go into this canyon. We could always just go back to Vegas. But I've got to know more about this guy, to find out what he wants from me, to find out why he rejected the package. And so we open a door and an abandoned, burnt-out bus to travel to the Divide. On the other side of the burnt-out bus, we discover the pass to the canyon wreckage, and we see strong winds blowing sand and dust directly above us. Moving forward, we begin the quest, The Silo. Passing through the canyon, we see some twisted wreckage to the left, made from fallen scaffolding and a large pipe. Climbing up the pipe, we arrive at a small ledge overlooking a canyon. And my God, what happened here? There appears to be a huge crack in the earth below, and these winds, I've never seen anything like it. At the far edge of this platform, we see a skeleton right next to a duffel bag. Inside, we can walk away with ammunition, caps, and another MRE. We see ruined cars, lodged in the rocks. How could these cars have possibly gotten up here? Are the winds strong enough to scatter these pre-war relics into the hillside? Off in the distance, we see 2 pulsing red lights and what appears to be capsizing skyscrapers. But this is a dead end, so going back down the tube, we can turn north. We pass beneath a toppled-over broadcast tower, where we can loot some purified water, and we see another stash of goods lying on a rock next to this broadcast tower. So finding a way to sneak on up there, we can loot more purified water and a super stim pack. Here we also find another duffel bag. If we're careful, we can climb up aboard and tiptoe across this ruin to loot a red toolbox hanging out at the very end. And here we find nails, 18 of them. This appears to be some strange new ammunition, but for what weapon? This also gives us our best view of the canyon below, where we see an old ruined billboard, and off in the distance, a closer look at the devastation that awaits. Back across the twisted metal and onto firm ground, as we continue northwest along the ledge, we discover the Hopeville Silo Bunker entrance. Hopeville Ballistic Defense Station, authorized military personnel only. And here we see it again, the stars and stripes, the old world flag, more graffiti left by Ulysses. This one is white, but we remember from the Big Empty that Ulysses left these in 3 different colors, blue, red, and white. I wonder if that has some sort of significance. With no place else to go but inside the bunker, we can open the front door to travel to the Hopeville missile silo. The interior of this silo is tilting. We have to lean to the right to stand upright. Along the way, we find even more of Ulysses' graffiti. You can go home, courier. As we reach the end of this hallway, the door before us opens up. We find ourselves in a destroyed room. We find furniture and garbage tossed around. Here we find 2 doors. To the north, a door that leads to a reactor, and to the south, a door that leads to utility. Directly in front of us is some sort of console. We see a big red lever sticking out of the left-hand side, and a programmer's digest lying on top of it. These are the silo blast door controls. This console controls access to the silo itself, but it is encrypted beyond your ability to hack. You will need to find something that can break the encryption in order to proceed. Alright, so one of these doors it is. Heading to the south, we can open the utility door by accessing the Maintenance Access Level 3 terminal. Here we find 3 options. When we select Maintenance Access Status, we see that access is locked, and when we inspect the log, we find that the main power is offline. However, emergency power is in standby mode. There are apparently 3 levels to this silo, each of which was equipped with security measures, but as of right now, they're all inactive. Our final option is to unlock the maintenance access door. The door slides open before us. We go down a hallway which turns to the east. Opening this door leads to a large, smoke-filled room. Behind us on a wall is a strange little doodad, something called a Commissary Terminal. But upon activating it, we get a message. This terminal can only be unlocked by an iBot. Leave the terminal alone. Well, if only we had Eddie with us. To the north, we can loot a few containers until we find a big shelf. Here we can get some electron charge packs, loot a couple of ammo canisters, and we find a brand new weapon, an arc welder, requiring an energy weapon skill of 75 to use. It shoots high voltage streams of lightning and works a lot like a flamer. This is in effect the energy weapon version of a flamer. Because it does electrical damage, it gains a +8 damage bonus against robots and a +4 damage bonus against enemies wearing power armor, with the exception of those wearing NCR power armor. When fully repaired, it has a base DPS of 72, but energy weapon users with all related perks can bump this up to a DPS of 135.1. Next to the arc welder on a shelf is a brand new piece of headgear called a breathing mask. The breathing mask has a DT of 2 and grants us +5 to radiation resistance. This is the same rad resist bonus as we get on the Remnants and Ganon family power armor helmets, but without the charisma penalty, and without the high DR. The T-51B power armor helmet is the only power armor helm that has higher rad resistance than this mask. Unlike the rebreather, even though this is just a face mask, it does take up the entire hat slot, which means we can't wear this along with eyeglasses or hats. To the east, we find an open door to the reactor, however, it's blocked in with rubble. We can't go this way, though we do find a stim pack on the ground. After looting a few more containers, including a first aid kit behind a console, we see a few tubes, kind of like auto docks or maybe Protectron charging docks. We can't interact with them and they are empty, so instead we can climb up some stairs to a platform. Here we find a Nuka-Cola quartz and a poster on the wall. Ralphie, the robot's incredible odyssey. We have an option to examine the poster, and upon doing so, we find the first of 20 needed to complete the Feel Like a Kid Again challenge. We'll be hunting down each of these 20 posters to complete this challenge over the course of this series. Turning east, we see another one of these pods, and there's an iBot floating inside. We can access it by activating the nearby maintenance bot control terminal. Here we find a number of options. If we choose bot pod status, we see that the pod is locked. Reading the commissary notice, Hopeville Missile Silo Maintenance. Attention, all base personnel. The automated commissary system has been locked down until further notice. It turns out that the counterfeit-proof paint chits we've been issuing to you are exactly the same size and shape as ordinary bottle caps. Until we can correct the problem, you'll have to make your purchases the old-fashioned way. Staff Sergeant Lansky. Oh, well, that's convenient. These base commissaries were designed to accept a unique currency called chits, but it sounds like bottle caps work just as well. I wonder if it still accepts bottle caps 200 years later. In the next one, Commissary Reminder. Attention all base personnel. This is just a reminder that all base commissary terminals draw from the same central depository. Please do not waste your time or the technicians by running from commissary to commissary. You won't get any more whiskey than you did from the first one. Staff Sergeant Lansky. Sweet, so they're all connected. If we access one, we're accessing them all. Well, that's good to know. We can then choose the option to unlock the prototype bot pod. And upon doing so, we can watch this iBot in the maintenance pod wake up. Eddie? Eddie? What are you doing here? Slow down, slow down. What do you mean you're not the Eddie I know? You better level with me, trash can, or I might stuff you back in that pod. We can pass an intelligence check to say, oh, this silo must have some pretty advanced engineering facilities to remote scan you and then build copies. So what was that sound you made just a moment ago? Some kind of memory glitch? Yes, I'm sure I heard it. Did something knock your memory modules loose? No, it wasn't your boot up sequence. It was a recording. Something about someone called Ralphie. Okay, if you don't want to tell me, just say so. Or we can pass a 35 science check to say, it was probably just some old data floating around in your memory. Nothing to worry about. Hey, Eddie, I could really use your help getting out of here. Can you come with me? With that, Eddie's clone joins our party, and we get his enhanced sensors perk.
Experiment log 369248/B. iBot Duraframe Universal Interface Override System. This is Dr. Whitley presiding. We've boosted signal gain and enlarged the overflow buffer system. That should ensure 100% connectivity and control. Eddie, whenever you're ready. Yes, success. Reporting full success on 369248/B. Eddie was able to interface with and override the test panel in under 3 seconds. Great job, team. Now let's start on the proposal for the full rollout.
Oh, I recognize that voice. That was Whitley, wasn't it? That's a recording from your development. Does that mean you can override electronic security? Only panels with a dish-shaped receiver? Oh, the console in the main room had one of those, I think. Well, it might be good enough to get us through this silo. Great, well, maybe you'll actually be useful to me then. So that voice, Whitley, whatever happened to him? Oh, well, I'm sure he's fine wherever he is. Maybe you'll see him again someday. All right, Eddie, let's keep moving. We learned a little bit more about Whitley and Eddie's original mission to the Enclave outpost in Navarro in my character profile video all about Eddie, which you can watch here. With Eddie as a companion, we can now activate the wall-mounted Commissary Terminal. We find a new option. Have Eddie unlock the terminal for us. Upon choosing this option, Eddie moseys on over and short-circuits the thing. Welcome to the United States Armed Services Joint Automated Commissary and Repair Station. Please input your selection below. The first option is to access the commissary, and we find a really nice shop. The commissary has around 6,000 caps. Looks like soldiers before the war were really exploiting this thing. For weapons, it has satchel charges, a new explosives with this DLC, which I'll talk about a bit later, and some new armor that comes with this DLC, including some Riot Gear and the US Army combat armor. Since my character came to the Divide practically naked, I went ahead and bought all of this. The commissary also acts as a repair station with a repair skill of 100. I took advantage of this to fully repair all of my brand new armor. The Riot Gear has a DT of 20, but it weighs a whopping 30 pounds. Compare that to the Desert Ranger combat armor that we found in one of the survivalists' caves in Zion Canyon, which has a DT of 22, but also weighs 30 pounds. The major difference is that the Desert Ranger combat armor has no added bonuses, but this Riot Gear grants us +5 to guns and +1 to agility. The helmet, however, is very interesting. It only has a DT of 4 compared to the DT of 5 that came with the Desert Ranger combat helmet, but it grants us +1 to perception and gives us a bonus called Sneak Sight. This Sneak Sight improves our visibility when sneaking at night. If we crouch down between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. or anytime we're indoors, we get the red eye effect, which makes things easier to see in the dark. The Riot Gear looks very different from the Desert Ranger combat armor. Instead of a greenish jacket and brown pants, the Riot Gear has a brown and gray jacket and gray pants with brown boots. And instead of the green lenses in the mask, the Riot Gear has red lenses in the mask. It also has unique markings, the number 100 emblazoned on the throat guard. Strangely enough, even though the Riot Gear itself is classified as a medium armor, the helmet for some reason is classified as heavy armor, which means that we can't repair it with medium armor like we should be able to, therefore it can only be repaired by itself, even if you have the jury rigging perk. The US Army combat armor grants us a DT of 18 and +3 to guns and +2 to survival. It looks like olive drab armor plates on top of a light brown base uniform. We find golden chevrons painted on the pauldrons, which means this suit was worn by a private. The US Army combat armor is better than typical combat armor and reinforced combat armor, but it's not quite as good as Combat Armor Reinforced Mark II. The commissary also has a wide selection of ammunition and some new weapon mods, which we'll talk about a little bit later. In the aid section, we find 2 new aid items, the Auto-Inject Stim Pack and the Auto-Inject Super Stim Pack. These stim packs will automatically inject themselves anytime we reach 50% health. With Lonesome Road installed, we can craft these at any workbench, as long as we have a science skill of 75 or more, with 1 sensor module and 1 stim pack. Now that we're geared up, we can bring Eddie back to the first room we found, and then we can have him break the encryption on the blast door terminal. Once done, we can flip the red switch to turn on the silo's power. We see iBots buzzing around a rocket or a missile inside a blast chamber. Sounds like we've awakened something here. Well, now that we've activated the silo, I think we need to step carefully. The northern door to the reactor is now open, and we can head down a hallway. Here, we find a destroyed iBot lying on the ground. On its inventory, we find an iBot upgrade circuit board. You have found a module on this broken iBot that can upgrade Eddie. Installing this module grants you the first rank of the Camaraderie perk, allowing Eddie to repair your currently equipped weapon once per day. Finding this Eyebot is part 1 of a 5-part challenge to find all of Eddie's upgrades in the Divide. We find new options when talking with Eddie. We can pass a 25 repair skill check to say that's an impressive multi-tool suite you got. I bet I could make all sorts of stuff with that. And pass a 25 guns check to say, hey, is that an Armco portable reloading bench built into you? That'll be handy. With Lonesome Road installed, we can now use Eddie both as a portable workbench and a portable reloading station. To the north, we find a door locked with a hydraulics access level 3 terminal. After hacking it, we can open the door to find a supply room. There's a first aid box on the wall and a stash of scrap to the north. Of note, we find some electron charge packs. In the toolbox, we find more nails and an H&H Tools nail gun. This nail gun is a new silenced weapon with Lonesome Road. It boasts having the highest rate of fire of any one-handed gun in the game. It's an automatic weapon using nails as ammunition, but being an automatic weapon, it blows through nails really quickly. We'll save this only for special occasions when we really need to get off a sneak critical. To continue, we head back down the hallway where we found the wrecked Eyebot and go through the southern door. This leads us to the blast chamber, where we saw the Eyebots repairing that rocket. Heading to the northeast, we find an easy-locked overturned desk, and if we pick it, inside, we find the Ville Silo second-level security code. We'll keep this in case it comes in handy later. On the ground nearby, we find a copy of Dean's Electronics. And before going up the stairs, if we head to the east, we can open a door to find 2 small boxes, one locked with an easy lock, and a hard-locked ammunition box. We can take some stairs down to this bottom level near to the engines of this rocket, but we don't find anything down here. However, if we look up, we see that the rocket is tilted, leaning to the side. If this ever did launch, I fear it wouldn't get very far, likely colliding with the side of the silo itself and exploding underground. We can loot a toolbox where we find more nails and 2 boxes beneath some stairs, one of which is locked, before heading upstairs. As we climb the stairs, Eddie plays back another message.
Dr. Grant? What the hell do you think you're doing?
Whitley, there you are. Orders from Colonel Autumn. He feels the Eyebot Duraframe project isn't advancing quickly enough. I'm too...
You didn't even disengage his damage avoidance protocols. You're hurting him.
Don't be ridiculous. It's just a machine. See here, I've already increased the navigation system's efficiency by 65%.
Get the hell out of here!
Fine, Whitley. It's your lab. At least until I tell the Colonel about this.
It sounds like Dr. Whitley really cared about you. Ralphie? Ralphie who? You're not making any sense, Eddie. Who is General Winters? The recording mentioned a Colonel Autumn. That Dr. Grant sounds like a war crime waiting to happen. Wow, you kiss your mother with that mouth? Well, you don't have to tell me. I would have beat the crap out of her. Well, that's a terrible story, Eddie, but we gotta get moving. At the top of the stairs, we can again look up. Yeah, something's wrong with the way this missile is sitting. Are there or were there more missiles in the Divide like this one? And if so, have they also tilted to the side like this one over time? On the ground nearby, we find another toolbox where we can get more nails for our nail gun. But as we continue along, Eddie gets a little nervous. It's all right, Eddie, don't worry. I'm fully armed now, you're gonna be okay. We see a door to the northwest leading to operations and a terminal on a wall to the east. We also see a bay of windows to the north. Ooh, and it looks like a sentry bot inside. I think I may go ahead and get my arc welder out. Heading to the terminal, we see that it controls security on level 2. Taking a look at the second level security log, we see that level 1 and level 3 are inactive, but level 2 is still active. Ah, we found that security level 2 control card in that locked desk. Using the card, we can unlock this terminal and deactivate second level robot security. Looks like we won't need to use this arc welder after all. We can now open the door to the north, and the sentry bot does not attack. Good deal. We can even loot the guy, where we can walk away with some ammunition. In a box beneath the desk, we find some Nuka-Cola, including a Nuka-Cola quartz. And if we unlock this hard-locked desk, we find the Hopeville Silo first-level security code. On a wall to the east, we see what appears to be some weapon schematics. We find a reload procedure, slides forward, unclamps and slides back, pump action, begins reload. Looks like this front end folds down, and then the ammo is inserted there. What kind of weapon could this be? And then it looks like it was collapsible, making it more compact for transportation. It almost looks like a missile launcher of some sort. Maybe a unique weapon that was designed here at the Hopeville Missile Silo? Heading up the stairs to level 1, we can open a door at the end to storage. Here we see the remains of some sort of battle. A destroyed sentry bot on the ground, and what's this? A corpse pinned to the wall. The corpse of a marked man? It looks like the skin has been stripped from this guy. On his inventory, we find NCR dollars and a small selection of chems. Oh, his nose is missing and everything. Ooh, gruesome. His outfit is strange. It almost looks like NCR armor, but it's been modified. He's strapped road signs to his body as additional armor. After looting the sentry bot, we can unlock an easy-locked tool cabinet to the northeast where we find another H&H Tools nail gun, great for repairing the one we have to maximum condition, and we find an ammunition box near to the wreckage. We can loot some electron charge packs on the ground next to an overturned tool cabinet, upon which lies another marked men corpse. This one is a Ravager. On the Ravager's corpse, we find 2 new items from this DLC, a Bowie knife and marked scout armor. The Bowie knife requires 75 in melee weapons to use, and it does 23 damage, doing 79.6 DPS. When used in VATS, it has a special attack called Dirt Nap. The Dirt Nap attack only deals 80% of its normal damage, but it costs 8 fewer action points to execute. It has a brown handle and what appears to be streaks of blood on the blade. It's also stamped with a serial number 02280. The marked scout armor is a new piece of armor worn by these marked men enemies in the Divide. The armor has a DT of 6 and grants +2 to sneak and +1 to agility. And it weighs 15 pounds. It looks like it's been assembled from Legion armor. In particular, we find pieces of the Legion Explorer armor and Legion Prime armor. It's been fortified with license plates and road signs. The road signs read Taxco, Ruby Drive, and Sunset. And the license plate is a California plate, number RFJ22. On the wall near to this scene is another schematic of the weapon we saw earlier, and at last we learn its name, Red Glare Rocket Launcher. Oh, so it wasn't a missile launcher, it was a rocket launcher. And look at that, it has the pre-war flag on it and everything. I wonder if they ever saw this to production. As we pass through the door to the blast chamber, we see a sentry bot. It's a great opportunity to use our new arc welder. After the sentry bot is destroyed, we can look behind us to see a turret, and next to it, a turret security terminal. The terminal is damaged. We have to have a repair skill of 50 or greater to repair it. Upon repairing it, we find 2 options. If we choose first level turret security status, we find that the security is active. We can then choose to hack the security turrets to compromise first level turret security. This is going to come in quite handy later. We see a window to the south. Looks like a battle has already happened here. We see that the nearby door is labeled Main Entrance. We see a destroyed sentry bot with a big Bowie knife stabbed into its face. We loot some ammo on the ground, another arc welder if we want one, and we can loot another marked man Ravager. There's a window to the east where we see more sentry bots, but they don't appear to be active right now. A trail of electron charge packs leads to the corpse of another madman scout. The door leading to the main entrance, however, is locked and requires a key. We need to find a way to unlock this. Moving around to the northwestern section of this room, we can turn south. We find a copy of Fixing Things on the ground and a console. This one's called the Hopeville Silo Mainframe Controls. If we try to activate it, however, we get a message. The mainframe is locked down with a secure military-grade encryption sequence. You'll need to find the security codes and upload them to Eddie to gain access to the mainframe. At the end of this hallway, we find a stim pack on the ground next to a first aid box, and that's it for this room. The codes we need must be out in the blast chamber. Heading out and turning west, we see a door that we missed earlier against the western wall. This leads to security. We see windows to the left and right, and on the other side of them, more sentry bots. And on the ground, we see a big seal. Ballistic Defense Mission, Commonwealth Defense Administration. Exitus Acta Probat. This is Latin for the outcome justifies the deed, or the ends justify the means. To the west, we see a large table, and sitting in it is a ghoulified corpse. This was the base commander's desk, and presumably this is the body of the base commander. We see that this is the corpse of General Martin Retzlaff. There is a 10mm pistol on the desk next to him. Presumably General Martin committed suicide. On his corpse, we find a unique outfit, the U.S. Army General outfit. This outfit has a DT of just 1, but grants us +10 to speech and +5 to guns. It's a handsome-looking outfit consisting of an olive drab overcoat, a leather military belt, and a darker leather-like outfit with an extended collar. We find U.S. insignia pins on the lapels and a 4-star general rank set on each shoulder. Inside the base commander's desk, we find the Silo Network security codes. Taking a look at them in our Pip-Boy, we see that they're a carbon copy of the Fort Constantine Minuteman 11 launch protocol codes that we found in Fallout 3, with the same authorization code, 0000000000. If we found the key card in the desk on the second floor, we can unlock the base commander's terminal. Here, we find 3 options. We see that the sentry security is active. We could, at this moment, open the personal security doors, but with the base security active, this would probably lead to our death. So instead, we can first deactivate the personal security system and then open the personal security doors. When done, the doors slide away, and thankfully we do not get attacked by 3 sentry bots. Instead, we can loot the shelves behind them, where we find a few plasma mines, and on the other one, a plasma rifle and an ammunition canister. With the codes in hand, we can return to the main entrance and activate the mainframe controls. Upon doing so, we can ask Eddie to unlock the mainframe, and he comes over to accommodate. But upon activating the mainframe and unlocking the silo's exterior doors, we get attacked by entrance security. Thankfully, the turrets in this room were on our side. That's because we hacked the turret control override terminal, making this fight much easier. Looks like the marked men had been here before us. We find the corpses of 2 scouts laying out here, as well as a hunter on the ground and another one pinned to the wall. Heading to the southeast, we see what appears to be the exit, but before we head out, we're going to turn around and go north. After looting an ammo canister behind a sandbag barricade, we can head north through the door. Here we find a couple of lockers, one of which has some U.S. Army combat armor inside, which means I really didn't need to buy any of it from the commissary. We can loot more MREs in this locker, then move to the north to find 2 ammo canisters on the ground, a first aid kit on the side of a desk to the southwest, and 2 military shipping crates on the ground below the window. Here we can walk away with plasma grenades and a bunch of medical supplies. When done, we can head out the door and up the ramp to the east to finally exit the Hopeville missile silo. And we see it again. You can go home, courier.
There's your signal. Faint, but there. Just like NCR. Voice without fire, without strength. Sick. Her tales of you walking the Mojave, giving the 2-headed bear strength. Giving hollow men like Kimball, like Crocker, half the life Hanman had. Now, let's test that strength, that conviction, courier.
You have a lot of hate for NCR. That kind of hate isn't new in the Mojave.
No, not new. And not new among all those in the shadow of the bear. You know their flag, a bear with 2 heads. Symbols an old world one. Had 1 head then. Better off for it. Their flag speaks to their spirit. They're split like two-headed animal, trying to go in different directions, ending up nowhere. In a Mojave, that'll only get you sand between your fingers, or over your grave.
Maybe you should tell me who you are and exactly what you want.
I'm a courier. Courier 6 was Courier 6. Like you, and not like you. In all the ways that matter. Spent too many years looking for you. Now letting you come to me. Thought carrying that ship would end you. No. You got lives in you. Hard to kill. Storms, bullets, sand and wind. Yet still you walk. For now.
You were supposed to carry the chip?
Meant to. No. Never. You're a burden. Weigh you down long enough to let death catch up to you. But you survived. There was death in that package. And while the chip is important to old world ghosts, no. You are more dangerous than that chip ever could be. Maybe why you found each other. Little piece of the old world speaking to you, waiting for you to wake something else up with it.
So you refused to deliver the chip? What, to set me up to die?
We all have death following us. Only a question of how close. You dodged it. For a time. You're good at that. Talent for it. With that chip weighing you down, a burden. Lets death move a little faster without me pulling the trigger.
If you wanted me dead, why did you wait?
Promises to keep to others. And the Mojave's dangerous enough left to the land. The land has its way. If I wanted you dead, we would have met sooner. Not sure that's the way this ends. Might be that history needs to have its say. If not, then messages will do.
We can pass a perception check of 6 to say, we've never spoken before. I'd remember your voice.
Words are the only way couriers meet. Sometimes it's the paths we walk. But no, we've never spoken before now. You may not know my voice, but we've walked the same places. The long 15 to Prim. That wasn't the only road you ever walked. I've been to your home, the place you kept returning to. May not be the place you were born, was the place you gave life to. Same thing. People forget couriers can keep communities alive until the day they're gone and their breath catches in their throat.
We can pass a 75 speech check to say, you brought me here to talk. If you wanted to kill me, you'd have waited until I came for the chip.
No, I couldn't. And I'm thinking you can't kill me either. If you did, you'd answer for it, just as I would. Let the land do the killing for you. That's one of the things you taught me. Killing is personal. Those vows, promises, last bit's more important to me than the first.
Wait, you swore not to kill me? Why?
What kind of world would this be if Courier killed Courier? You've got enough distance ahead of you. Save your breath for the road. Don't waste it on words.
So you're the one who sent the radio message, Ulysses.
Not my given name. Close enough. Took it from history. Found it in a book. It's an old world name. Ulysses lived a long time ago. Long before the old world set fire to itself. He made a mark without being myth. Had to fight during a time when his world had two flags, and he had to make them one.
We can then pass a 75 survival check to say, you chose the name Ulysses because of the two flags reference. Is that tied to the war in the Mojave?
War. Call it that. Our part in it. Ulysses wasn't made for the flag he followed. He wasn't made for peace. That's the lesson. If you follow a symbol to the end, Ask yourself what that means. More important, ask what happens after the end.
We can then pass a 7 intelligence check to say, I see Ulysses. Not the Ulysses from myth, from Homer's The Odyssey, the Ulysses from history, from the American Civil War. You're honoring history, not mythical stories.
History. Yes. Ulysses walked a hard road. A general, like Caesar and Oliver. He was brown and stubborn, gave him strength on the battlefield. He led his side to victory, turned 2 flags into one. That's when he lost. When the fighting was done, the sickness took hold. Lesson there. If history is to be believed, one you should heed.
Here Ulysses is referring to U.S. President Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant was a general for the Union during the Civil War. He led the Union to victory and was then elected President of the United States twice. At the end of his second term as president, he and his family went on a tour of the world. However, this world tour was extremely costly, and he depleted most of his family's savings. He lost the remainder of his money after a series of bad business deals and investments. This near impoverishment tarnished his public reputation, and it was then that he was diagnosed with cancer. In order to make sure that his family was not impoverished after his death, he spent the final days of his life feverishly writing his memoir. He died only a few days after completing it, at the age of 63. Perhaps Ulysses is trying to say that it's great struggles, great times of conflict, that make men great. It takes the struggle of a lifetime, like the Civil War, to give a man like Grant the focus he needs to achieve great things. But also that when we complete that struggle, when we lose our adversary, when we finally find the peace we've been working for, that is when a man or even a nation begins to suffer from disease. What is this place?
The Divide. This place is a slice of it. Old military. Can still smell the pride and the fear. Hope of the old world, wrapped in fencing, covered in storm. Got new inhabitants now, other than ghosts. More recent recruits.
We can pass a science or an explosives check of 50 to say, this area looks like it was hit with earthquakes or underground detonations, or that the damage here looks like it was caused by underground detonations on a scale I've never seen.
America sleeps in the Divide. Giants beneath the earth. You saw one locked in the silo beneath you. There's more. Only takes a few of them, locked below ground, to tear apart the earth and cast dust, sand, ash into the skies above. You'll see the extent, the miles of it, soon enough. You need to see it. Walk it. For now, eyes alert. Watch the streets below. There's still life in the Divide. Threats, other than the storms and wind. New inhabitants.
Inhabitants? It doesn't look like anyone's alive down there.
These new inhabitants, not natives, most of them, came with duty, purpose, ready to kill each other. The Divide was stronger. Left marks on them too. Not bear, not bull. Now, radiations mark them, made them equal in history's eyes. As vicious as the storms are, these shadows of Legion, of NCR, silhouettes of things to come.
If our reputation with the NCR is high, we can say, those bodies in the silo, those marked men, they were NCR soldiers, some special forces. Or, if our fame with the Legion is high, we can notice that some of them were Legion Frumentari scouts, assassins. Either way, Ulysses has the same response.
Might have been. Once. To the Divide they came. In the Divide, they rest. If you saw their corpses, you saw mercy. Got what they deserved, coming to the Divide. The bear and bull. NCR Legion came in waves, before and after, right into the invisible fires, the wind ground collapsing beneath.
I've never seen corpses mutilated like that.
Even as the fires here burned them from within, the winds of the divide tore their skin, exposed them, screaming to the sky. And just as the divide tears at them, so they tear at each other, for sport, like some tribal scarification. Falling back to their history, maybe. No matter what they suffer, the radiation, fire of the divide sustains them, makes them stronger.
We can pass either a survival or medicine check of 35 to say radiation may keep them alive in areas so physically punishing it would kill others, even ghouls. If they've become ghouls, the radiation would strengthen them, heal their wounds, not the scars.
There's truth in your words. In what I've seen of their tactics, movements, recovery. Those wounds, they couldn't live otherwise. The divide winds have torn the skin from many of them. Maybe the radiation is the only thing keeping them walking. They camp near silos, warheads. No way to cleanse the radiation. Makes them hard to kill there. Have to draw them out.
How are you speaking through Eddie?
The robot with you. All of them are machines, radios, old world tech reshaped with new hands. Historians, couriers carrying messages. Seen them as I've walked the divide, tending other machines. That one, sealed inside the Hopeville silo. Sign America is waking up. It will follow you, obey you, carry it until we are face to face. Then there'll be no more need for it to carry my words.
We can pass a 55 speech check to say if we share history, then before going forward, I want to know the past.
Who are you who do not know your history? You came all this way for answers. Only currency I have. Nothing else to be gained. Could turn around, walk away at any time. If history matters to you, you'll need to earn it. Any laws of mine, I have already cast away in the divide. They're lost to you. For now, find the trigger for the warheads buried in Hopeville. Use it to keep moving and keep alive.
But enough talking, Ulysses. You went to a lot of trouble to lure me here, so let's get on with this.
America sleeps ahead of you. Its nightmares filled with quakes, storms. You'll need to find your own path. That means waking America's spears up from their slumber. There's ways. Warheads set off collapse. Warheads could open the gates again. You're resourceful. That machine, robot with you, can help you find the warheads you need to destroy. And their trigger, the detonator. The way ahead is below. The tools are there. The rest, up to you.
Forget all of that. I'm here. What do you want?
An ending to this road, you and I. First, you need to find your way. At the end, I'll be waiting.
I'm not planning to go into the divide after you.
No courier would go to the divide, but you will. And that's what sets us apart. We walk roads no other courier will walk. And for you, you'll want to see your home one last time. See what happened. You're curious. You walk, leave ruin in your path. You can't leave alone. Still, the choice is yours. What I offer is the last I offer you. I don't care if you walk the divide. Turn, walk the Mojave, fight beneath the flags. But you'll wonder, if you don't, the divide will come to you and the Mojave. That will be my message to you, like the message you had for me.
All right, but you need to know. The divide won't stop me from reaching you. Trust me.
The divide will send its worst against you. It may break you. We'll see if you're stronger. Road gets rougher from here. Courier left marks for you. Colors will tell the way if you're smart. They'll lead you to your home one more time. Lead to the ending of it. Maybe remind you why you wander.
With that, Ulysses releases his influence on Eddie, and we complete the quest, the silo. We then begin the quest, the job. We have 2 tasks before us. The first is to uncover more of Ulysses' personal history, to find out why he's here, why he brought us here, what his ultimate goal is. He didn't want to give that information up freely. Instead, he told us to find recordings that he has scattered all over the Divide. If the why of it really matters to us, we'll only understand it by discovering those holotapes. Our second task is to find our way through the Divide by detonating nuclear warheads in strategic locations. Ulysses said that the scrap and ruin of the Divide is blocking our path. The only way to reach him will be to strategically detonate these warheads to make a path for ourselves. We walk away from this conversation with so many questions. If those were NCR and legionary troops back there, why did they have no skin? Why do they seem to have been working together? And what were they doing here in the Divide? What is an iBot doing here, and how was it able to communicate with our Eddie all the way at the Strip? And what exactly is this Ralphie Eddie keeps going on about? To find out, tune in to tomorrow's episode where we will explore this place and complete the quest, the job. I publish a new Fallout video 6 days a week on a wide range of topics spanning all of the Fallout games, so if you want to make sure that you don't miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. This week is Lonesome Road Week here on my channel. Every day this week I'll publish a new video about the Lonesome Road DLC for Fallout New Vegas until we complete the whole thing. It'll probably take more than a week. I'm thinking about a week and a half worth of content for you. The story of the Lonesome Road does build upon the previous DLCs for Fallout New Vegas. You don't have to know the whole story to Fallout New Vegas to follow the story to Lonesome Road, but it does help. If you're unfamiliar with the story and you want to catch up, I recommend watching the first 3 episodes of my The Full Story of Fallout New Vegas series, and then watching my series on Dead Money, then Honest Hearts, and then Old World Blues. You'll still be able to enjoy this story without the context, but the context is going to make it much more interesting. I link to all of these videos in the appropriate order in the description below. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop, folks. End of Dungeon Steamer Trunk. You can get the shirt in a wide array of colors and in a variety of sizes. I've got a bunch of other designs and products in the shop, so if you're interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with all Oxhorn news. And if you like what I do, and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with episode 2 of Lonesome Road.